This is the brand new DJI Neo. I took this on a ride on the weekend and I discovered that it is in fact not a drone. It is something else. However, that something might be great for adventure riding. Now, first things first, this is not a sponsored video in any way. I went and bought this myself, in fact, even with the approval of my wife. So that brings us to the first point of $299. It's hard to beat. That's a really, really cheap tool to use. Now, I'm avoiding the word drone there. I'll get to that in a minute, but it's a great camera to give you some coverage that you wouldn't ordinarily get from having another drone and having the GoPro on the helmet. Now, it's also 130 grams. Carrying this thing with you means really there's no compromise. It can easily fit in the tank bag. It can even fit in your jacket pocket. It's really, really tiny and it weighs almost nothing. Now, that is going to cause some problems down the track. But my favorite thing about this, and the reason why I bought this, because it doesn't have a remote. Now, you can buy the Buy More combo, which will come with 2 extra batteries and a remote, and that's $529, I think. But in this case, my plan for this is to not use the remote. So the fact that you can fly this, and it's got 6 modes, and particularly the follow me mode, without needing to get a remote out of your tank bag and plug it into a mobile phone and so on, is a really, really big plus. And that means that I can get shots that I wouldn't ordinarily make the time to get. The other great thing of speaking of the battery is that it's got a USB-C port in the back, which means that I can plug that in when I throw it into the tank bag. So when I've got my shot, throw it in the tank bag, plug in the USB-C, and it's charging when I'm not using it, which effectively means I don't need any more batteries, and in fact it'll last all day. Now, the big thing about this is that I can get an angle that I don't normally get with my other drones. I have the Air 2S as my main drone, and I will be using that moving forward. This is not going to replace it. But it gets shots that, while the Air 2S could do it, it's more the opportunity to be able to grab it out without the remote and fire it up without anything else that makes this so much more versatile. So you can connect this to your phone. So you can fly it via the phone. It has virtual joysticks and you can initiate any of the modes through that.
Take off.
That's obviously a compromise on the distance because you can only be so far away before you lose signal with a mobile connection, whereas for a remote you can be kilometers away. However, one thing it does do is then it records the audio that is recorded on the phone while it's in flight, is then automatically synchronized to the video, which is a good concept, except that it's terrible. Right, so that's now recording off in the distance. So now I've read off a whole bunch of really good things about this product. However, there is some limitations and some fairly big ones if you think that this is a drone. Now, I mentioned before 130 grams, super, super light. And it's actually a light wind today, but even this, I'd be reluctant to put it up in the air. Fine when you're down on the ground nice and close and so on, and it doesn't wander away too much. 130 grams is really, really light, and the wind will pick it up and take it away in a snap. Whereas my Air 2S is a couple of kilos. Because it can do up to 70 kilometers an hour, it means it can withstand winds of up to 50 k's or so. So it's much more stable as well. Trying to get a shot in winds with this at high altitude would not look great. I found the photo quality a little bit meh. It was okay for social. It's good enough for, social posts, but you can't zoom into it. So you really need to position it in the right place and take the photo because the quality just wasn't super, super great. So if you're looking at photos, doing photos with this, just make sure it's nice and close. The tracking is really good, but it can be inconsistent. Occasionally it did track something else. That's something to be mindful of, particularly on the bikes. If you if you set it up to follow you, leaving it and it picks up another rider and belts off down the road, then you're gonna be going and chasing that drone. So be mindful of what it's tracking. Now, the maximum speed for this is 20 kilometers an hour. So even when it's following, it can go faster in a manual mode, using the remote, but as far as tracking and following something, 20 k's an hour is its maximum, which is fine if you're getting nice shots going in to locations and then maybe even taking on some technical bits, like this little track behind me. If I wanted to have it follow me up there, then it could easily do that. However, if you think it's going to follow you down the road at 70 k's an hour, it's not going to do that. There's also a big risk with anything involving water. So if you think this would be a great device for doing water crossings, I would very much hesitate doing that. A couple of times when I tried it out, as soon as it lost tracking and it got a little dark and the camera couldn't see something properly, basically its fail-safe is to go, I don't know where I'm going, I'll just drop myself down on the ground and shut down. So obviously if you're crossing a river, that's not going to be a great thing. Doesn't have any sensors on it apart from the two for landing in your palm. It doesn't have obstacle avoidance, it has obstacle tolerance. Right, it just, when it fails, it just falls over. You just pick it back up again. So it'll basically bang into things instead of avoiding them. And at 130 grams, it means that sort of knocking into things doesn't really cause any problems, and all the guards around the blades ensure that it doesn't really have an impact. So it's more not obstacle avoidance, but obstacle tolerance. The concept of capturing the audio on the phone is a really good concept. However, unfortunately, while it does cut out all the prop noises, which is really good, what's left is not good enough to use. Right, so that's now recording off in the distance. So I've got my lav mic set up and I can talk to it from here. So it's probably recording the audio off the phone, or it should be. If I hold it up nice and close, then it's probably a lot better. But when you've got it standing here, if you don't want to be obvious that you're holding a phone and talking into it, then it's going to be that distance away. I tried it with the AirPods and I tried it directly into the phone, which was better than the AirPods. However, it was still really crackly and sort of not fantastic. So if it has all those limitations, what is it actually good for? Well, one of the things I love about it is getting a different camera angle between what's on your helmet and then what's in the big aerial shots from above. It's a nice in between. It actually makes a really nice shot for when you're pulling into places or pulling out of places. Gets that nice perspective, you get to be able to see the bike from behind, and it's a great shot to mix in with all the additional shots. And that brings us to, what is this really? If it's not a drone, what is it? Well, I kind of see this as a flying tripod, essentially. It's the camera that you, rather than setting up, the big camera with the tripod and everything, it's an easy thing to just get out of the tank bag, have it hover next to you, go and do a quick little thing, come back, throw it in the bag, don't have to worry about tripods and all that sort of stuff. It'd be great shots for pulling up, pulling away, even just riding past it. It can have it just sit there manually, it doesn't have to be tracking anything. But of course those slower, more technical sections where it can follow you, then that can be really effective. However, it's not going to get those big aerial shots, I'm afraid. Now it could, and you could try it and you could risk it, but I would suggest you probably won't see it again if you go up too high and then the wind catches it. It's not going to do those big open road shots, I'm afraid. It's just not going to have the pace to be able to keep up. River crossings, anywhere near water, I would just avoid it whatsoever. Because unfortunately when you're riding, the GoPro does capture 90% of the shots, and that can get pretty boring after a while. So being able to throw in some additional shots is really effective. And so that's what I'm looking forward to getting with this, is all those additional extra B-roll shots that are going to make the videos much nicer. I think this will also make a really good tool for trips and traveling with the family and stuff like that. It's so easy to use and throw into a pocket if you're hiking and things like that, even off the bike. Really nifty little tool. So if you need extra convincing reasons to give your partner, holidays. But my main big thing about this is the no remote. It's the fact that I can use it without needing a remote and grab quick shots really, really easy. So I would suggest you'll probably see a lot more of this camera in our upcoming videos.